and welcome to Josef's Model Railway and Toy Room. Don't despair, we don't have to panic about it. We're not quite in there just yet. We'll move into there in just a moment. Why am I out here at the moment? I'd like to introduce you to those of you that aren't aware to my magnificent invention called the M&J Cleanaway 3000, designed and built by me. So what exactly is it? Don't despair. It is simply a kitchen sink, and that's all. I know, you're expecting more. Something to do with the motor down here? No, it's just a macerator pump. It's what we use because of the slope of the land for getting the water out of the shed. And when I'm cleaning materials, this will just pump the wastewater back to the system, and then it'll link up to the rest of the sewerage. Is that what this is about? No. It's this, the sign. What's the sign all about? I got my wife to make it. So of course it's just a sink, and the M&J Cleanaway consists of me standing on my two legs, using my two arms, and cleaning materials up in this sink with the necessary cleaning agents. But the point is, I'm very big into customization, and I like things to be labeled and named correctly. Any more than I've talked about the IPA studs that I use to identify cables and electrical circuits. And of course, with model railway, it can get very complicated very quickly when it comes to wiring your layout. So before we even start getting into the in-depth videos that'll be coming up about wiring the layout and signals and all of those wonderful things, of course, we've had a quick chat about the Woodland Scenics lighting options that they have, their Just Plug system, which is magnificent. But of course, the complexity is now going to start to increase as we move on to the layout itself. So while it might seem like complete and utter overkill to just name your sink, that's only me scratching the surface, because I take it very serious. So good labeling and identification of anything is imperative and will save us a lot of time. And of course, more time in the train room is all the better for me. So let's go and dive on in and see what we can come up with. So as discussed, we have a bunch of dropper wires, which we'll be discussing later, and all those dropper wires are just to do with power feeding the tracks. But of course, there are three buses. We're going to be having our track feed for all these droppers. We'll need point power, and also that will be controlling our points, and of course the accessories to do all of our lights, i.e. our Christmas tree or street lights, station lights, and things like that. So yes, it can become a little bit confusing. And as we've discussed, three key runs of this simple black and red cable are going to be running around this layout. So you're going to stick your head underneath this layout and be presented with these wires, and I dare say a few of these distribution blocks in key places. But how do you know exactly what it is that you're looking at? We need to identify them. And of course we can just take some sort of a marker, come along with our Milwaukee ink saw and just squiggle along what it is and come up with some codes. Or for just a mere few cents, we can do something I think is a lot more organized. Ta-da! I like to present to you these identification tags that I've had custom made for my requirements. Now, what have we got here? Well, we've got our three colors. So we've got Axe, which is for accessories. We have our track, which will be for track feed. And then we have points. Let's just come in nice and close so you can see. And as you can see, this is of that type of plastic that's made where they're obviously engraved it or what have you. And it just peels back. In fact, we're already working on the accessories ones here. You just bend it, peel it back. I would still recommend just adding just a little drop of glue to it while it's there, especially if you're attaching it to pines or other timbers that can have a bit of an oil or something in them. It's going to adhere a lot better. Basically, that's all this video is about today. We'll just snip over and have a look at one in action. But the whole idea is you'd stick your head under the board, spot one of these distribution points with a series of black and red leads, probably leading directly at them, which is easy to follow. And if you saw a sign underneath it that said points, as if you couldn't probably identify that it was heading over to some points anyway, you've made it nice and obvious what you're tapping onto. this will become the most popular one in the future because tracks and points will sort of be where they are. But we're always going to be building on accessories, maybe adding a new building with lights or vehicles or additional street lights or yard lights. So it's very important to know, yes, this is the one we're going to be seeing because it can start getting pretty mind-boggling underneath with the amount of wires that are happening. And as we'll discuss in a future video regarding some of these track feeds, we're going to bust a few myths with that with a real-life demonstration. Well, let's now get cracking and have a look at the fact we've got this side with the cricket club and of course our signal box that we've been explaining how it's all working using the Woodland Scenics Just Plug lighting system. And if we slide under the board here from the cabinet work, you'll see we have the Woodland Scenics light hubs here. We control the cricket ground floodlights here, the additional building lights and street lamps here, and this is to do with our signal box, and there'll probably be a fourth one here to do with our yard lights. Now if we just swing under the board, the big black and red wire you can see coming out here is for the track feeds that feature underneath the cricket ground there. And if we just have a look, you can see here's just a little bit of a marker just explaining how it was wired off for some key lights here and heading over to the floodlights. So you can see how things, even though it is clear and logical, it can start looking a little bit messy. Even with some diagrams indicating various different things over time, you're not always under here to see them. But at least when we come over to a distribution block here, you can see we've got a tag here, accessory. So we know all of the cables that are feeding directly off of here and make their way to those light hubs and then feed off accordingly are all to do with that. So it couldn't be any more clearer. Of course, where we see that big wire coming over here, there will be one coming down and probably another hub located, I suspect, somewhere in this vicinity to deal with all of our track feeds that are coming in, and we'll aggregate all of those together, a couple more dangling down here. So we'll take care of that as we go. So expect to see more of things like this when we go under the board and we know exactly what's going on with that cord. And as you can see, it's going to follow its path going out. So looking down here to what would be the main feature section of the layout, the longest section we see in the room, if we just tuck under here, you will see here we have our lead running in for the accessories line. This one will be reserved for the points. And as we move further in to the middle and or the back wall is where we will concern ourselves using our track feed line. I think we're going to keep it consistent and keep them mounted onto the back wall so we can screw all the terminal blocks there, and that really stays out of the way and we know exactly what's there, because once they're put in, it's very unlikely we need to go around touching any of that in the future. And of course, there's a lot of the spaghetti here anyway, and we'll clean it all up as we carry on. Well, girls and boys, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I've got for you today. It's another one of those filler, no killer in this one, but don't panic. There's always some good stuff just around the corner. We'll keep that going. Of course, we're going to explore the wiring in greater depth as we carry on, but at least you'll understand the logic when I reference things like this in the future about connecting to one of the 3 key bus power rails that we've got installed on this layout. And I think a few cents can really go a long way and is a great investment on any of the projects you may be looking at doing. I particularly like that style of labeling. Of course, you could just use the standard type label maker that many of us may be using, like the Brother P-Touch and things similar to that. Look, they are fantastic, don't get me wrong, I use them for a few bits and pieces, but it's the longevity of what they offer. Sometimes they are not that good. Yes, it could be the Seinfeld episode that we all know where the glue on the back of the labels will fall off. We don't want any of that. I've certainly noticed that even with the UV treated ones and the plastic coated ones, still they can deteriorate after a few years. The label colors themselves don't really pop or stand out clearly anymore. So that's why I've gone with the method I'm going for. And also that color consistency I think will help greatly for someone like me that likes the simplicity. So as you can see, there's plenty of work that needs to be carrying on. So we'll get to it and look forward to seeing you in the next one. Stay safe. Toodles!